Hi, my name is Geri Peak, and these are my three responses for the Fund for Liberatory Practice application. Liberatory practice, what it means to me are two things. First of all, is to take us beyond the a system that's structured to benefit white people, and even in equitable practice, in the end, we're talking about parity within that system. Whereas to be liberated from it requires our mindset to shift, and which is a foundation that we use in my work with Equity Matters local collaborative in Baltimore and Maryland, to really change the way we think and see. But even when we're doing that, people are so committed to the economic systems or the political systems that they think will take us to the promised land, when in fact we don't have the mindset that's needed to co-create that future. But we do have skills, capacities, practices, ideas, and when we're committed to that, we can begin to conjure and dream something completely new. One of the ways that this has worked for me is working with leaders of equitable evaluation and diversity. It's a fellowship program where people who used to be seasoned academic social science researchers but has shifted towards early career evaluators and just more diversity in that regard are mentored by seasoned evaluators who have a culturally responsive practice like myself, but also there's a practicum. And that practicum, that falls into the same thing you see in fellowship programs. Like literally, they're telling academic professors how they need to dress to do this work when they're academic professors, and they have to dress. They're even more constrained, I think, than hedge witch consultants like myself who can get away with blue hair. So, I had the opportunity through a lot of twists and turns to offer a practicum, which I thought was going to be adding culturally responsive language to my tools, which were culturally responsive but were developed, some of them 20 years ago, and completely on the down low. What happened is I was exposed to Davon Love's work, an essay, When Baltimore Wakes, also known as the Black Paper, and I was exposed to Shauna Murray Brown's work on epistemicide in social work, as well as many, many other papers, articles, presentations where people were pushing that liberatory edge. And I realized that I had been on a liberatory journey for quite some time. Even with a high school I was running for 4 years, from 2012 to 2016. So instead of choosing one person to work with me in my so-called firm, which is just a sole proprietorship, I actually invited all four applicants to walk along with me. I asked if they would split the money that was available that I didn't even have, another story, and two of them said they would do it for no funds because one had a really good job, the other one had picked up three practicums. Actually, one of my mentee picked up three practicums, so she was able to kickstart her consulting career with those. And the other two women I was able to pay, 1/4 each is all they accepted, which was great because I didn't have the $8,000. $4,000 was easier for me to get because the mentorship paid $3,000, so I knew I would have $3,000 to pay them. I only have to find one more. Anyhow, and we started what became a liberatory learning circle, first with us meeting together and reading certain things. We realized right away that we didn't want to rush to creating like a framework or saying this is what liberation is, but really to understand it and integrate it into our practice and see what we learn. We hosted an event last August and invited people to attend, and from that event we invited 25 folks. From that event we've had a growing list of participants who come to the learning circle. We have about 32 listed. We have 10 or 12 people show up every month, and an ally group of 4 was started at that meeting because accidentally white people were invited even though they weren't supposed to be. But the opportunity was to start that project, and it allowed us to start on that journey of really exploring what is liberatory practice. So, with regards to the second question, I think that just to make the offer reinforces for folks like myself who's been transitioning over the past 6 or 7 years more and more towards coaching. Most of it very accidental and working with my evaluation clients, then explicitly with coaching clients or with mentoring client people who meet me and they want to be mentored outside of a structure or system, which I try to just accommodate with my time. And now I actually have tip clients, paid clients, and free clients. And in terms of coaching and from a liberatory perspective. And, you know, I don't have the confidence that I need to just go out here and say, let's conjure this, let's do a Patreon, let's get, let's crowdsource so that we can put some things together, which I had gotten excited about by getting involved in the Old Money New Systems initiative. I went to 2 of their retreats as an evaluator, not a funder person, and we did some solidarity economy, generating funds for initiatives that people brought to the table, and I was able to contribute to. And I realized evaluators are the kind of people who can contribute money to things. So I wanted to. Um, I wanted to apply that to liberatory practice, but I've been a little scared. Another thing that happened to me that gave me confidence, much as this application has given me confidence, is I mentioned in a circle that was in with some women that was meeting for about a year during the pandemic. It was a mixed group, and we were all involved with the Presidency Institute's Gaia journey. And at one of our check-ins, I said, "Man, I wish I could. I wish I could do the writing I keep promising people that I will do. If only I could pay myself to write." So this woman got on my calendar the next day. She told me, "I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but I have a little bit of money. It's not much, and I'm thinking that I want to give it to you so that you can write." And then she sent me a check for $5,000. And I feel like this funding is a similar, and I used it to help myself just commit time towards writing. This funding in and of itself gives me the confidence to keep going in that realm. I feel like evaluators are people who can crowdsource funds to support initiatives that we love and believe in, as well as to seek funding from the solidarity economy, from those with wealth who are looking to transform and reform their money and transfer their money to worthy causes. You're a part of that, and it's inspiring. It helps us to conjure. And I have a couple of other projects that I had in the fall. One was a devastating failure, not complete failure, but just, embarrassing when things don't just go smoothly, as if anything ever does. And the other one had a devastating event of racialized harm. We were holding technical support for an advisory group, and we were able to bring embodied practice, silence, and all kinds of things we'd already been doing with them to really hold them when the group became aware of what had happened. And so I think, again, it takes more courage than, almost more courage than skill, to be willing to walk where people need to go instead of going where you think they're supposed to go. So this funding tells us we can walk where we need to go. So if I were to get the funding, as a recipient, I would want to definitely have some sort of retreat or activity that allowed us to grow our capacity to be collaborative, to reject scarcity and urgency mindsets, to understand that we may be doing some short-term equitable practice things, but this liberatory practice is the longer term. It requires gestation. It requires stirring that pot and keeping it on a low simmer. It requires constant work and making space and allowing yourself to work on it. So I feel that I would like to see you all do that, and as well, I would love to see you have some mechanisms, as you intimated, to integrate those who are not funded, very likely myself, although I really want to be funded, to be able to walk in this new arena where there aren't resources and we don't know what we will be able to do. So I want to thank you for this opportunity. I finally got down to under 10 minutes. Ashe, Aho, Allahu, Hapa, thank you. All power to the people.